What's up, everybody? My name is Michael, or Kiratze Online. Hopefully you guys are having a positively fantastic day so far, and I'm here with another episode of Early Access Friday Recap. This is our 6th Early Access Friday, and this time we are checking out Will to Live Online. And you can probably surmise what this kind of game is just from looking at it and the scenery and stuff like that. It is a stalker-inspired post-apocalyptic MMOFPS. I know a lot of people probably groan at that, but I mean, this is one of those types of games where I think a lot of people have made iterations of, like with Survivarium, I think is what it's called. Newsy, or a lot of those zombie type games, and no one really gets it right. I wouldn't say this one gets it right. This is still very early in development. I believe it only came out, let's see, it came into early access on April 5th of 2018. It's developed by AlphaSoft LLC. If you go to the website for the game, it is a Russian developer. I know a lot of people are going to be groaning about that too. But honestly, I was actually quite surprised by this game. This game was $17 Canadian. So honestly, not too expensive. It's 15% off currently. It is $17 Canadian regularly. I got it for $14.86 because it's 15% off. So whatever regional equivalent is off of the Canadian currency. So that's the Canadian currency there. And yeah, it's still really, really early in its development. It's considered alpha, not even beta. You can look in the top right. It is alpha version 0.49.5. And it was, I think for the price, it's actually not a bad game at all. It actually surprised me quite a bit. Here you can see actually the size of the map, which is insanely huge. Not to mention there's a whole nother area called the swamp to the north that you can actually go through a door to get to, which is almost about the same size as the map you just saw there. And I didn't even zoom out all the way. The game's actually quite fun. I played it for about 4 hours on stream, and I enjoyed my time with it. I think it needs a lot of polish. There's obviously a lot of filler there. It's really rough around the edges, but I am quite impressed with how well it ran. How well it ran, as well as just some of the mechanics are pretty cool, and everything just felt like a solid alpha experience. Normally, with this type of thing, I'm a little bit worried. I thought it might have been another Survive the Nights, for example, which had a terrible, terrible launch. This is much more developed. This has all the fundamentals and the foundation there. It's just a matter of them building upon it and also polishing a lot of it. They are planning on having it in early access until probably 2019 is when they're going to go try to shoot for full release. And in the Steam early access section, they mentioned that to do every single quest and to do everything, it's no less than 40 hours of content. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what they boast. I could definitely see it considering the size of the map and just exploring, honestly. The fact that this game is an MMOFPS means you can group up with friends and stuff like that. I'm not sure how large your groups can be, but even so, in the trailers they do even explain that there are like bosses to go out and kill, things to explore, like is almost like dungeons, I guess you could say. And that type of thing is really, really attractive to me, because I'm one of those guys that can play anything, even if it's a subpar game. If it's co-op with a bunch of friends or something like that, it can be it can be a lot of fun, especially when this game is really explorative. It's really just about sort of running around. Now, I only explored a very, very small portion of the map, probably less than 10%, maybe not even that. And so I didn't really get to look at all the cool, interesting locations, or didn't see a wide range of enemies. A lot of the enemies around the starting area are pretty much your basic, giant rats, stray dogs. There are these creepy little things that are called watchers that can be invisible. They almost remind me of the head crabs from Half-Life. And yeah, that's all I've seen. But I was just judging from the dialogue and stuff like that, there is mutants, and there are also different servers. So there's North American servers, Europe servers, and Moscow servers. I believe there's 2 for each region, and they ran really well. Like you can see at the top right, my ping was like 29 the whole time around that range, and my FPS I was getting at least around 60 and up while I was streaming, which is pretty impressive for an early access title. Normally, and it is actually not a bad looking game. It's running on the Unreal Engine, so it's pretty well optimized for an alpha. But yeah, the servers, they say that it can easily hold around 100 players for each server. There is also a PvP and a PvE server for each of them. Yes, this game does have PvP. I personally started out on the PvE server just because I know how these games can go, and just wanting to be able to show off the game without interruptions, I wanted to just have that. But as I was playing through it, I felt like if it was PvP, I would have a lot more intense experiences, just because there are people running around and trying to do their own quests and things like that. And there were even like some squads running around as well. So being into, being someone who's a fan of like DayZ and Escape from Tarkov and those kinds of things, this game could definitely create some pretty intense PvP moments, especially at nighttime when it is actually quite scary. This game definitely oozes Stalker sort of immersion. Obviously, it's missing like the awesome inventory system, things like that. The inventory system is one of the biggest things holding this game back, I think. It's very, very tough to hold a lot of items. Your weight limit is very, very low. So, I mean, it does make you really have to choose what you want to grab and what you want to bring back to the town. But because I don't believe there's any fast travel system, at least not from what I've seen, and how big the map is, you're going to be doing a lot of running around. So that's a little bit of an issue. Hopefully they give you some methods to fast travel or at least speed up the way you move. There is crafting in the game, so I don't know, maybe if there's a way to craft some sort of weird potion that can help you speed up your step. But I wasn't able to dive too much into the crafting system just because the early recipes were really, really expensive, and it's not too easy to actually earn money in this game. There are, like I said, quests in the game, but they're pretty bland from what I can see. It's more like go kill this sort of mini boss, go kill 10 rats, go kill 10 stray dogs, get 10 of their skins, harvest 10 of these flowers. Very, very basic. The dialogue as well for the characters, because this is a Russian developed game, they don't have all the localization done yet. So the translations are hilariously bad. Very, very good English, if you're a fan of that. So I don't know. I honestly, it doesn't hurt me because I just find it hilarious. I love that type of stuff. But that is, something that will get polished out as time goes on. Like I said, this is very early alpha. And honestly, I was quite impressed with how well it ran, how solid the experience was, and I played it for 4 hours. If I could find a good solid group to play with or a friend to play with, and just run out and explore and die to a bunch of different things, like different mutants, bosses, and have fun doing that, I could definitely see myself sinking at least 5 to 10 hours in the game. Easy, even just for exploring alone, not to mention just doing the quests and things like that. There is a level up system that you do get experience from the quests for and killing monsters, as well as you can sort of see just from the dialogue on the bottom left. There are, and as well as there are damage numbers that pop up, so it does sort of have that almost like Borderlands RPG element, even though it's a shooter. And the level up system is quite slow. It does take a while to level up, it feels like. In my 4 hours, I got to level 5. I believe they said 60 is the cap right now, and they're planning on increasing it to 100. There is a skill tree, as well as, there's 4 different classes. There's engineer, there's miner, hunter, and soldier. And they all have different sort of stat allotments, because there is sort of a strength, dexterity, intelligence type system in the game for attributes. But I haven't yet figured out how long it takes to actually get a point to distribute between that. I feel like it's every 10 levels you get a distribute a point for that, and it's every 5 levels you get a skill point to put to your skill tree. The skill trees aren't like amazing or anything like that. It's not like they're going to give you a lot of active abilities. It's more just passive. For example, the hunter gets like a skill tree that allows you to go up and increase your rifle damage or your rifle accuracy. So it's pretty basic. It's still more on the shooter side of things, not super huge on the RPG elements. There are some interesting mechanics though. Sort of with how the world is explained through the story cinematic. The world's gone to shit after sort of discovering this radioactive material, and crazy explosions happened, and the world went to ruin essentially. And they started developing shields to protect towns that would block out mutants. But it created anomalies which you can actually jump into sometimes. There are certain good anomalies and bad anomalies in this game, which is a nice little mechanic. Some of them can teleport you, some of them hurt you, things like that. So there's some interesting things there, but otherwise it is sort of your basic post-apocalyptic shooter. I didn't play, Survivorium or a lot of those other knockoff ones, but this game is pretty comparable. It does have a night and day cycle. It does have, like I said, your basic crafting. Your first thing you can craft is a campfire. There's a nice variety of weapons. They are locked behind levels, which is a little bit unfortunate. So to unlock some of the later ones, you do have to be an adequate level, which in a way makes sense for an RPG shooter. But so that's a lot unfortunate. You still have to buy your ammo, repair, and that stuff all costs quite a bit of money, as well as, they will have, I believe, armor and stuff like that down the road. You can change your clothing, and there's even like repair kits for your clothes. What else? I'm trying to think of what else to talk about, but I would say that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the game in a nutshell. The gunplay is a little bit lackluster. Again, I think all that stuff is going to be worked out down the road. It's just sort of, I'm speaking more about the foundation, the mechanics, because I know the polish is going to come with time, but this is very, very early alpha, so you can't really knock off points for like placeholder things of that nature, or just how bad the gunplay feels, just because it's that stuff's just gonna get improved over time no matter what, or at least I would hope so. Excuse me, got a little bit of sniffles. But yeah, I had a lot of fun running around in my 4 hours. I think I'm probably going to try and get maybe some people to join in on this game. It's a little bit of a tough sell, because it's really rough around the edges. There's not like a ton of variety and content. This is one of those games where it's more, if you enjoy just running around, exploring with some friends and shooting things, that's pretty much the game that you're looking at right now. I do hope the later quests get a little bit more interactive. I would be really, really interested to see what kind of the bosses are like, doing like sort of raid boss type things, and taking a big group and trying to take down this big mutant or something like that would be a lot of fun for a game like this. And there's not a lot of games that can pull that off, or have pulled it off, I think, in sort of this stalker-esque setting. And they really got a good atmosphere. So yeah, even like with the night cycle, you can sort of see under the radar on the right side, there is actually sort of a 24-hour clock that does go through a night and day cycle. And the night actually lasts a pretty long time. So it is actually honestly pretty spooky. So I could see if you got a couple of friends and went out into the woods, and came across this big mutant, I think that'd be actually a pretty terrifying experience, especially considering if you're under leveled, you will die very, very easily. The game is actually not super easy. I even found myself dying from like stray dogs almost. You do have to buy a lot of med kits, and you really have to make sure you're prepared. As well as there is a food and a thirst mechanic. I do believe there's cooking as well, but I haven't really dabbled into any of that. And yeah, especially with the PvP, I would say if you're going to get this game, be wary. Obviously, you have people griefing outside the main town. There is sort of a mechanic to try and prevent that. If you shoot somebody without getting shot first outside the main town, the guards will auto-kill you for like 10 to 15 minutes, I think. So you won't be able to like go back and sell anything or things like that. So if you're going to be a bandit, you do have to really be a bandit and just make sure what you're getting into. But I would still say if you're planning on getting this game, definitely join the PvP, because I think the PvP element, just being able to come across someone in the woods at nighttime with like their flashlight on or something and potentially take their loot or try to group up with them, those kinds of interactions are something that made DayZ really, really popular. So I think you can definitely find that in here, because this game does have in-game voice. Now, granted, I don't know if there's a way to mute people like all together. I know you can go up to someone and hit F to mute them, but I don't know if you can like just overall mute all voice chat. So just be wary, especially if you're a streamer, because yeah, people say stupid shit. But that's my thoughts on Will to Live Online. It was actually a pleasant surprise. It ran really, really well for an early alpha. I'm really looking forward to see how it develops. If they add more content, more polish, I will definitely come back and check this game out in the future, and may even do maybe even do some more of it just down the road, just if I feel like checking out one of the updates. But yeah, let me know if you guys have played this. Let me know what you think, or if you've played any of the other sort of games that are similar to this. I think if you're a fan of Stalker, you could probably find some fun in this. But I definitely would say the two caveats is be prepared for an unpolished experience. Try and get friends to get it with you if they're interested in this type of game. and make sure to join the PvP servers. That would be sort of my tips for making sure to get the best experience, I think, out of this game. Because playing 4 hours solo, I still had fun, but I don't think it would be long term. I don't think I would enjoy it really at all. But I'll probably obviously also chat and see if anyone wants to group up with randoms. But I think this is definitely one of those co-op with friends type of games. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little recap. If you guys want to follow my Twitch channel and check out all the future early access games I'm going to be checking out, we check out early access games every single Friday on the channel. You can find my link in the description below, as well as we are still currently in the middle of our Yakuza playthrough. Really enjoying that. And yeah, still waiting patiently on that third character for Slay the Spire. But thank you guys for watching. Take care. Have a great rest of your night, day, or morning, wherever you are. And I will see you guys next time.